Hi, I'm Alex Wood, and I'm part of Phantom Media's University of Derby Student Union election coverage. Today, I am joined by.
I am Jack Tymon, and I am running for president of the Union of Students at Derby.
Brilliant. Jack, what drew you to the particular role?
I think the students deserve better this year, and I think that's been highlighted this year more than ever. From my personal experience, university is so much more than a degree. It's not about that piece of paper that you get at the end of your 3 or 4 years that says, I'm Jack Tymon, I've got my BA in X, Y, or Z. It's about the friendships that you make. It's about the things you get involved with, whether that's sports, societies, student-led services. And it also bubbles down to those little moments that happen when you first meet your flatmates, or when you first go to a new city, or when you first got to do like a big shop for yourself. It's just strange things like that that I think makes university what it is, and it isn't just about that piece of paper. And I think this year more than ever, students demand better, and they deserve better. So I want change. I really do believe it's time for real change and to see a real improvement to what students are getting and the overall student experience at Derby. And I want to change it.
And if you were to succeed and elected president, we'd obviously celebrate with champagne poppers and socially distant dancing. But what would be your primary aim if you were to succeed?
In becoming president?
Yes.
It's a hard one because in my manifesto, I've got 7 very key points that I want to hit. The main 3 that I think this year are going to be very valuable is I want to see better funding for all societies, sports, and student-led services. And that money can be spent on whatever they want, whether that's going to improve the facilities, you get an external speaker in to talk, or you just want to maybe buy some more uniforms or kit. I just want next year, next September, there to be a real difference in these groups of people to be given the actual funds to be able to really have an impact and give such a massive opportunity to students who are just desperate to do things again. The amount of people I speak to that just want to try something different, or just want to sit down in a room with someone and have a conversation or have a chat and have a laugh. I want all sports societies and student-led services to be able to offer amazing experiences to any student that wants to get involved. But I also I want to see improved mental health services that the university are offering. And I also want free sanitary products in all bathrooms across campuses for anyone who needs them.
Brilliant. And in your particular, this is all about you. This next one. In your particular opinion, what is your perception of the student union right now?
That we know they're there, but we don't know what exactly they're doing. There's been so much happen this year that I just wish the union would say, look, these are the exact things and these are the exact conversations we are having with the university. We understand, I think students understand that this year is different, but they didn't expect the university to do the things that they have done. I mean, the prime example for me is when everyone came back this year, and in the libraries, all students were only offered a 3-hour gap a week to use the library facilities. It just doesn't make sense. Why were the union not pushing for more and more flexible aspects to be able to use the facilities that the university has on offer? So the union's there, and they're great. And what the whole point of the union is to hold the university to account and to ask for things that the students want. I want the union, to be very vocal about how they're pushing the university to get things done. And that's one of my 7 manifesto points. I want the union to be totally transparent in what they are doing with the university. And even if that's an update 1 week to say, you know what, we've had a really difficult week because the university have said that we can't do this, but they have said this. Students don't want to be kept in the dark. They don't want to be watching press conferences with Boris Johnson and thinking, well, how's that going to affect me? And then all they get a week later is an email from the university. They don't want that. They want saying, look, this is what we're doing and this is how we're going to try and overcome it. I think the union just needs to shout about it more, and they need to want to hold the university to account. But the union's great, and they offer some really great services, and the people that work at the union are great. I just think it's time to get a little bit more vocal and to hold the university to account.
Brilliant. And as is the case of a true candidate that's running for anything, they tend to answer my next question in the answer they've just given. So it leaves me a little bit on lurch, but it also brings a giant smile to my face as well, which is the next question simply is there anything you would change? But you listed out a flurry of things. Yeah. Would you say the main one there that you're trying to describe, and you're trying to say in terms of this is what I would change, is the transparency one?
Everything on my manifesto, Alex, I want to do, and they're big. Don't get me wrong, they're very big and they require a lot of work, but I want to do it. I sometimes I guess I'm very driven, and sometimes that can come across as he's just wanting to do lots of things. Well, that is because I genuinely care and I really want to see a massive difference made. And I know that out of my 3 years at university, and actually did another one at Sheffield, but I dropped out. When I was 18, I went to Sheffield University and I dropped out because it wasn't for me. So I've seen 4 years of university. And even compared to the one that I dropped out on, this has been by far the most arduous. I see university as an investment of your time, of your money, and I guess most importantly this year, your emotional well-being. And if you're not getting out of the university what you're putting in, and it's a lot of money, it's £9,250 per year, that's just for your undergrad. And it's like, if you were going to a bank and you were expecting a good return on your investment, and they didn't offer you a good return, you would move your money elsewhere. So for me, it's almost like we've been sold a car with 3 wheels, but when we saw the picture of the car, it had 4 wheels. So we're driving around this year thinking, what's going on? And I just think it's so important that we cannot spend the next year in the same way that this year has been. And I think, and I truly believe that it can be different. And I mean, I'm sure we'll all be back in as soon as possible. The vaccine rollout's going great, and all being well, come September, there is going to be real change, and I want to be there to help make it. And whether that's through more money for sports and societies and student-led services, whether that's for total transparency, the free sanitary products, improving the mental health services, getting discounted public transport for all students and alumni. I've dreamed big, but I think it's achievable.
Brilliant. All right. There were the kind of meaty ones to try and get people to realize who you were as a person and try and understand that one. These next ones are a little bit job interviewee, so just bear with us with that.
No, that's fine.
How do you solve problems professionally?
I think by looking at the whole picture, because it's very easy to think, oh, well, short-term solution, let's get it done. And you could probably, there's some of these that you could fix in the short term by saying, let's just spend a lot of money on it. And yeah, I'm sure you'd improve it, but the money's going to run out. I think it's so important to look at the longevity and the lifespan of problems and making sure that you fix them, so that, I mean, realistically, you're only in the post for 1 year unless you get re-elected. You've got to make sure that what you're doing can last and it has an impact and a legacy. So I think how I look is I look holistically and I look at all the options. So you've just got to make sure that no one is going to be, no one, you're not going to make everyone happy, but you've got to make sure that you can make as many people happy by doing it. And the people that you most likely aren't going to make happy, it's not the students, it's the university, because you're saying, look, you need to do more for the students. And by making sure that the uni are aware that, look, what you're doing is going to massively impact these students and have such a great effect on them. For me, it's all about the students, and the students are the number one priority. The university wouldn't be there without the students. And I think sometimes the university fails to realise that the students are their number one priority. And for me, the students are the number one priority, and looking after my fellow classmates and my cohort and all of the students. And it's about putting them first.
Brilliant. And when people are elected or instrumented into the role of president or any of the other fantastic roles that are on offer in the full-time thing, your face is literally plastered everywhere. You've got pictures on billboards that rotate in the main university. You've got giant posters saying, hi, this is this is that, this is the other, these are the things I am, this is who I am. You've got biographies. Every time they post something on social media, they've got that weird little headshot of you that they take at one particular point of the year, so you can't change your hair because you have to look like that ever again. Everyone knows who you are. And even if you're lucky, you get a full-size one photoshopped with you other four VPs in front of the university. That's the big one. You have to be very lucky to get that one. That one's a very lucky one. But obviously it comes with a lot of publicity, does this role. How is it that you would deal with that?
I wouldn't have an issue with it. There's nothing in my manifesto or how I would want to operate that I don't agree with. Everything I say and everything I've written down in my manifesto, I think it's achievable, and I think it's genuinely going to have a great impact on the students at Derby. I love it. If I got elected, I would love to start implementing my ideas. I'd have no issue with I'd have no issues with being quoted. I'd love to stand up and debate the university on why they should be doing this. No, I've got no issues at all with leading the charge and making sure that and just being the brand. And I think it's being the brand and representing students as a whole and making sure that the students at Derby, their voice is heard. I'd relish the opportunity. I'd love to be able to defend and promote students at Derby. I'd love it.
Brilliant. Obviously, this year within the current coronavirus COVID-19 situation, it has impacted students. You've said that yourself throughout this interview. I know it. Everybody knows it because it is so apparent that it has impacted. But it has also left a lot of students feeling that their student experience has been dampened. And obviously, a lot of students have been critical about how the university has responded to what's happened in the coronavirus and COVID-19 situation. What do you think the Union of Students should do in response to students feeling critical and concerned about their student experience?
Listen to them and hear what they say and get it changed. If the union are there to represent students, and there will be differences of opinion amongst the students in what they want the union to do, but it is important that the union listen to every single student voice. When you become a student at Derby University, you automatically become a part of the union, and you are a collection of all the students across all academic across the faculties, across all faculties and whatever course you study, you're all part of the same group. So whether you've got Mike who's studying mechanics, or you've got Terry that's studying, I don't know, transport infrastructure, you've got to listen to every single one of them and make sure that you're working towards giving them the best opportunity. So all that the union can do is listen, and what then they can do as soon as they've listened is go to the university and make sure that the students are listened to, and what their issues are that they've raised, they fix them. That's all the union can do.
And what is it that you would do in the role of president if you were to be elected? How would you support that?
I think it's important that the president's accessible. this year, I think it's been extremely difficult to sort of know who the people are that are representing you, especially if you're not a massive social media lover. I think it's important having the opportunity for students to come and see you. So when elected, and if elected, come September, I will make sure that at some time during the week, during term time, as long as we are allowed back in the building, I will be there on hand. So if someone's got a query after they've finished a lecture or after they've got a coffee and blends and they want to come and have a chat with me and say, look, I'm not happy about this, or I just think that's a little bit strange, I want that opportunity in person to come and see me, because you don't get that same effect and that same communication through a computer screen. But for those students that aren't comfortable coming back into the university, or perhaps they're still shielding come September, or just want to, I don't know, ping me a text late at night because they've just thought, why has that not been done? All social media channels will be open to me, and I mean, I will be getting, if elected, I will be getting paid. So I'm not massively bothered about, I will specifically work between 9 to 5. These are my office hours. If you've got a good idea, 11 o'clock at night, once you've just finished your cup of chamomile tea before you go to bed, and you think, you know what, actually, that really should be raised, message me, and we will see what we can get it done.
Okay. And from this year, being online all the time, which we obviously have been, we've been very little in person and in contact. We call it a virtual year this year. We call it the virtual year. Throughout the virtual year, there have been lessons we've learned. We have learned things this year that we can take into next year. So for you, both personally and professionally, what is it that you've learned this year that you can take into the next one?
I think it's quite important to have the opportunity to speak to people, and if you're needing help, you can get it. I've always thought that I was very resilient and had a really good positive mental attitude, and I do, and I love to work, and I'm very driven and hardworking. But this year, there's been some points that I've thought, what is going on? And you've just not felt right, and you've not felt good. And I think it's so important to be okay in going to someone and say, look, I need a little bit of help. And whether that's with work, or whether that's with your academic writing, or whether that's with your mental health, I think it's so important that if you are worried or you just want to speak to someone, the opportunity is there. And I've been so lucky that my course mates and other friends that aren't at university, they've been there, and I could reach out, and I felt comfortable to reach out, because I think there's a lot of people who sometimes they won't ask for help because they don't feel like they can. And I think it's important that everyone realizes that there is going to be someone out there that can help you. And if it's regarding the union, and come September I'm elected, I will be that person that you can speak to, and I'd love to speak to you, and I'd love to make sure that we can get things better. But I think the thing that I've learned most this year is that if you need to speak to someone, and they will be happy to help, even if you think it's daft or you're worried about it, believe me, someone wants to have that conversation with you to make sure things get better.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jack.